Hi, it's Thomas Grønnemark, the throwing coach, with this week's midweek throwing report. This time it's the match between Aston Villa and Chelsea in the FA Cup, where Chelsea won 3-1. It's really important for me to say that when I do these kind of live throwing analysis, is that I'm only seeing every throw-in once. So normally when I'm coaching my clubs all around the world, I can see the throw-in 3, 4, or 5 times, using approximately 3 to 4 hours on a throw-in analysis. But this game was really entertaining, a lot of goals. But there was also a key sentence here around the throw ins in this game, and that was hidden throw in weakness. I see that with a lot of teams who are either winning games or generally playing well, or is maybe a top team, that their throwing weakness is hide under their results or other strengths on the team. And for example, some years ago, I saw a match against Bayern Munich against Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga, and as I remember, it ended 4-2 to Bayern Munich, and both teams had like really terrible throw-ins. But because after the ball was gained by the opponents, we had counter attack, good plays, and so good passes. It wasn't really revealed the throw-in weakness from both teams, and it was seen as a world-class game. And yes, of course, it was a world-class game for the neutral spectator or someone who's not a throw-in expert like me. But the throw-ins were really, really, really low quality in that game. So again, this is also a theme for this game, Aston Villa against Chelsea. But let me dig into the numbers here. So we'll start with the home team, Aston Villa, who lost 3-1 to Chelsea here. And first of all, I think that looking at the possession at least, Aston Villa had a decent game. They had a possession on 71.4%, and that's actually over average. I think if you're just looking at the possession, it's quite good. The challenge is sometimes with possession is that first of all, we don't know how this possession came. Of course, we can see it, but sometimes you can have a clear possession where it's just like beautiful space creating great passes. And sometimes you can also have a possession because you were lucky or got into duels and just, yeah, it came out to a teammate. Also, it can also be a possession because of you pressured really well just after you lost that on the throw in. So again, of course, the possession number of Aston Villa was, yeah, over average. Also, you can also call it good because 71%, yeah, it's quite good. But when you're looking at the um, the positive situations that Aston Villa put themselves in, it was 42.9%. And of course, it could be worse again, but I saw Aston Villa putting themselves in again. How can you say? Some general mistakes around throw-ins, but I'll come to that again. But then I'll come with Aston Villa to what I call the highlights, and I found one highlight I want to talk about. It was in the 47th minute where Aston Villa is throwing behind Chelsea's defense, also with a fast reaction too. I love that. That was really great. And I think often teams are underutilizing counter-attack throw-ins because a lot of teams they're waiting for their fullback or their wingback to get that ball, and then you waste some time. So that's what I'm doing in my coaching is I'm educating all players to know when to throw fast, when to wait, but also the throw in precision down the line behind the defense, also throwing length. That's also really important. And then I'm also of course educating the players inside the pitch to take the right runs. And of course, if there's not a good counter-attack situation there, then of course wait. But I loved the throw-in that Aston Villa had. And then to what I call the low lights is that I saw that Aston Villa were doing a lot of general throw-in mistakes. They didn't put themselves in so many good throw-in situations. They had some moments where they came too close to the throw. They had some moments where they threw the ball into a small box, and so with not much space. Uh, but yes, of course, in some of those situations they were lucky to get possession. That's also why the throw-in possession is so much higher than the good situations they put themselves in. And yes, I know sometimes winning those bad situations can be luck, but also of course sometimes you can also win them because you're good at pressuring, or you have some physical strong players, or other things too. So again, but for sure, yeah, also potential development for Aston Villa, because you shouldn't only put yourself in good situations in 42.9% of the times. And it's really important for me to say that I'm talking about throw-ins under pressure, because if it's a no pressure throw-in, I don't count it into my throw-in possession statistic. Also around the good situations too. So yeah, I think it's a good margin of improvement, potential improvement for Aston Villa. And then we come to Chelsea. And I'll say that yes, they won that game 3-1, and of course they should be happy for that. To win a cup game 3-1 is really really important, like any other games. But and I'll also say that yes, uh, like I come to now, they had a really, really bad throwing game. And yes, of course, you can win games even though you're bad at throw ins. But I'll just say that if you're good at throw ins compared to bad at throw ins, of course, that will affect your general results all around the season. So, but let's dig into the Chelsea throw in game. So, first of all, they only had a possession on 30%. So that was really really bad, and that's quite low. Of course, sometimes you can see games who are having even lower. Once upon a time, with Liverpool, when I was there for 5 years, we had a team down to 12.5% possession. So of course that's totally dominating, but 30% is also really bad. But what was even worse was that they only put themselves into good situations in 20% of their throw-ins. And again, a little bit like Aston Villa, where they put themselves into some bad situations too. Uh, they did a lot of the basic mistakes, coming too close to the thrower, throwing into small spaces, not creating really good team space between the players. And for me, it looked like in that game that are Chelsea working with the throw-ins? It's not looking like that. And taking consideration that you have 40 to 60 throw-ins in a match, you should do that. But then again, the highlights. There wasn't many highlights with Chelsea. They had one throw-in where I think they played decently. So I also put that into to both a good situation but also the possession. I've also been writing the 89th minute, and that was not because they did well, but it's also like a little advice for Chelsea here, is that they had a totally open mini switch there, option there for a mini switch. It means like the furthest central defender, and often when you are up in a game, we're going late in a game, a lot of teams have the tendency to just throw the ball down the line, because we think, oh, we have to get that ball away from our own goal. But actually it ends up like it did here with like a duel. They kept it in the end, but why not take the best option instead and get a possession and have the ball longer when you are late in the game. So Chelsea in that 89th minute could have done much better, even though they were lucky um, to keep the balls after a lot of duels. And then I'll say the low lights. I said it again. There were way, way, way too many. And for me, again, I haven't seen all Chelsea's game this season, but I'll say again, like a big, big, big margin of improvements. Remember again, 40 to 60 throw-ins in a match normally. We are using up to 20 minutes of a match on throw-ins and throw-in related situations, So of course, it's really important to be good at throw-ins. I took Liverpool together with the staff and the players, of course, from number 18 in the Premier League to number 1 on throw-ins under pressure. So yeah, you can work with that. So again, yeah, big margin of improvement for Aston Villa, but much bigger for Chelsea. So, but it's always good that teams can improve. And are you interested on hearing more about my throwing coaching, my visits to the club, and also online courses that I've made so amateur and youth clubs can also improve? Then you're welcome to look at throwinacademy.com. But this was this week's midweek throwing report. And if you have any questions for me, you're welcome to write that in the comments. And then again, I'm on all social media. You're welcome to follow me there. But that was all for today. Have a fantastic day. Bye bye.